Greetings, greetings, greetings. I'm in my beach tent and it is just a taint windy today. It's not actually very windy, but when it's even just a little bit windy, this tent acts up. So I'm gonna reach around and kind of get out of it a little bit for the purpose of this message. And you guys can also see a little bit of the ocean. But this is a message that is very serious and very important. So we are coming, I guess this is almost the last week of June. Maybe we have a couple of more weeks. And in modern times, this has become Pride Month, where a lot of cities and different places celebrate the LGBTQ I community. And I am 51 years old. I will be 52 this year. And to be completely honest with you, like I remember early pride parades in San Francisco. I'm not from San Francisco, did not attend any sort of pride parade, but I do remember them being a thing that occurred. And so to have lived to be in a time when they are now commonplace and happening all over the world and all over, well, at least all over the nation that I happen to be living in, is truly amazing, truly amazing. But one of the things, or the main theme, if you guys can't hear me, somebody put it in the comments. I see I got 3 people listening, but my tent is waggling pretty heavily, so it might be drowning me out. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is the dehumanization of black children. And I am in a public place, so you will hear other people talking. You might hear other people frolicking if this sun keeps on coming out, but we'll see. But I wanted to talk about the dehumanization of black children and what it means to dehumanize somebody. So, to dehumanize a person is to take away their human identity. Thank you very much, AK Gorilla. Is to take away their human identity. When you take away someone's human identity within popular culture, then it makes it okay to harm this person, to kill this person, to treat this person in ways that you would not treat other human beings. That's what dehumanization does. Most people who are dehumanized based upon long-standing dogmas and long-standing what would we call it? Traditions, long-standing paradigms, all of these things that are currently changing. All praises be to the ancestors and the Orisha that these things are changing. So most of us who are dehumanized, those are the reasons that we are dehumanized. Let me give you an example. Black people have long, in the West and throughout the globe, due to colonialism, have long not been considered human beings. Right? There was in here in the United States, there was a literal court case that deemed that black people were 3/4 of a human being, 3/4 of a human being. And so this is why you do not get a huge outcry when black people are killed, because they have been dehumanized. Okay? So that's what it means to dehumanize someone. So if you read the title, then you know that this particular live is about stop dehumanizing black children. And I started it off with saying that this is Pride Month. So let me say happy Pride to everyone. I am a very proud ally. And this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because I went to a liberal arts college. And so I had a lot of gay fellow students, gay friends that I went to school with. And I went to school during the height of the AIDS crisis. So this is a subject that is difficult to talk about, but I want to talk about it anyway. So when you uphold a philosophy that says to other people that people who are gay, or people who are homosexual, or people who are transgender, or people who are gender fluid, or people who are just asexual, people who don't subscribe to none of that shit, when you say that people like that are an abomination, you are dehumanizing them. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shake the phone. I mean this so deeply. You are dehumanizing them. That's what you're doing. You're contributing to a culture that dehumanizes them. And once someone has been dehumanized, then it opens the door for them to be treated in horrible ways. I encourage you to watch the documentary Disclosure. I encourage you to watch the documentary Paris is Burning. The majority of transgender and gay youth on the streets are 15 years old and younger. Let me say it again. The majority of transgender and gay youth on the streets are 15 years old and younger. Those are babies. And the reason that their parents feel like what they have to do is put them on the street is because we, as a social collective, are out here telling these people that their children are an abomination. I'm going to ask you, what do you do with an abomination? What happens to an abomination? What is it safe to do with an abomination? What is encouraged to do to an abomination? What are you supposed to do with something that is an abomination? You're supposed to destroy it, right? So then you cannot be surprised with mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles and grandmothers and grandfathers who are putting 13, 12, 14, 15-year-old babies out on the street because according to the social construct that you are upholding when you say these things, these babies are an abomination. They are looking at their own babies as less than human. And if you are saying these things and you are encouraging that behavior, you're encouraging that. You're encouraging these babies to be shot, babies to be killed, these babies to be mutilated, these babies to be abandoned and put out on the street. That's what you encourage when you say stuff like, oh, that's an abomination. Oh, that's against nature. Oh, that doesn't go with my religious beliefs. Putting babies out on the street goes with your religious belief. You are more connected to an invisible being that you cannot see than to actual babies that live and breathe. That's what you're saying. Because that's what's happening to these children still today. It hasn't stopped. Pride Month doesn't mean that people stop putting their transgender and gay babies out on the street. That's not what that means. Pride Month does not mean that families start accepting their gay family members. That's not what it means, y'all. That's not what it means. But when you say that, when you say this is an abomination to me, this goes against my religious beliefs, well, this just goes against the way that I was raised, you are dehumanizing those people. And you may say, well, I'm not going to do anything violent, and you might not. But that does violence. That does violence. To dehumanize someone is violent. You're putting them in the position to be a thing that can be hurt without any social consequences. That's what you're doing, right? And you cannot tell me that there is any God that tells you to be more loyal to them than you are to the babies in your own family, than you are to the babies in your own house, than you are to your nieces and nephews, to your little cousins, to the children that you teach in your classroom. If you worshiping a God that says be more loyal to me than these other beings that you are to be dealing with every day, then I don't know what religion that is. I don't know where, and I have studied many. There's no God that tells you to do that. You're making a choice to do that because that is what is socially acceptable in your circles. Please pause and think about what you're saying. Pause and think about what you are posting and the effect that it is going to have to people around you. Pause. And also consider the origins of your own personal convictions about it. Consider that. But before you even consider that, before you even figure out why you feel the way that you feel about it, take the time to think about what happens to these babies that have been dehumanized. Think about what happens to them. They get put out, y'all. An abomination is not supposed to live under your roof. So they're out on the street. And when a baby is out on the street, a 12, 14, 13-year-old child out on the street, you tell me how they gonna make a living. We all grown. How they gonna make a living? It ain't but one way that they can make a living. So if you wonder why when you see a transgender street person, it always looks as though they are engaged in sex work, it's because somebody believed that they were an abomination and put them out of the house, and they still got to eat just like everybody else got to eat. And that is the only work that is available to them, because also, since people think that they are an abomination, they're not hiring them. They're not hiring them. You are dehumanizing people. You are making people's lives impossible when you do that. When you express that this is wrong and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't support this, you're dehumanizing people, making people's lives unlivable. Imagine what your life would be like if your family did not support you, if you could not find a job, and if you were not welcome to live with any family members just by virtue of being you. What would your life be like? How would your life be different? More than likely, you would have to turn to sex work as well. Especially if you were 12 or 13. Especially if you were 12 or 13, that's what's going to happen. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Damn, up into your 20s. Up into your 20s. Stop dehumanizing black children. Every black child has the right to live. Every black child has the right to be celebrated and loved and honored within their household. If there is a black child in your family that seems to be gay or transgender or lesbian or homosexual, whatever thing they prefer to be called, if there's a black child in your family that seems to be that way, support them. Don't dehumanize them. Don't be nowhere asking their mama what's going on with so-and-so. Encouraging her to look upon her child as less than human. Don't be nowhere saying to their daddy, you must not have raised him right. Encouraging them to treat their child as less than human. What are you doing? What possible good could come from that? What possible good could come from that? You trying to get that baby put out. Trying to get that baby not supported by their family. Trying to put that baby in a position where the only thing that they can do is sell their bodies. That's the only socially acceptable thing for them to do. And you need to think about why that's socially acceptable. They an abomination, but it's socially acceptable to pay them for sex. Yeah, you need to think about that too. But before you think about that, just do the small self-work of not dehumanizing black children. That is within your power to do. In your family, in your household, within your words. Do that small self-work. Do not dehumanize people. This wind is kicking up, y'all. Don't dehumanize people. People who are dehumanized have nowhere to go, and they have no one to rely on, and so they are forced to make horribly desperate choices. And none of us would like to be in that position, right? So don't do it to anybody else. That is my message for this morning. Happy Pride, right? Happy Pride. Happy right to live. Happy right to exist. Happy right to be whoever the fuck that you say you are. Happy right to be called by whatever fucking pronouns you prefer. Right? It doesn't kill me to call somebody by a certain pronoun. That don't hurt me at all. Right? It don't make no difference. Once I do it, I'm not even gonna even think about it again for the rest of the day. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. Right? It ain't hard if I walk by and see two people loving on each other who are doing it differently from the way I do it. It ain't hard for me to just say, oh, ain't that nice? That ain't hard. That don't cost me a dime. I don't have to change nothing in my life to look at that and smile and be happy that people have found love in a world that's so full of hate. Come on, y'all. This ain't hard to do now. This ain't hard to do. Ain't nobody asking you to build a foundation. People are just asking you to let them be human. People are just asking you to allow them the right to exist. That's not difficult. That's not impossible. And if that goes against your religious beliefs, then you need to check your religion. If your religious beliefs said you shouldn't let people exist, then check your tradition. Right? All right. I love y'all. So just a little quick message. Ecstasy, abundance, and bliss to all of those within the sound of my voice who are wishing the same for me and mine. And we wish the lessons of life upon those who are ignorant enough to wish us otherwise. All right, y'all. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your day. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out how to turn this thing off inside this dark tent. But okay, here it is. All right, y'all. Peace.